He smiled like nothing happened. How does someone live a normal life for decades after committing a brutal crime? How does a killer sit across from police, calm and collected, convinced he's invisible, while the truth waits quietly in a lab for nearly 25 years? On a quiet May morning in 2001, a woman was killed inside her own home, and for years the man responsible blended into everyday life so well that even investigators were fooled. Until they weren't. And when the truth finally surfaced, everything changed. It starts with a phone call that no one ever wants to make. A coworker explains to a dispatcher that something feels terribly wrong. Blood in the foyer, furniture knocked over, a house that looks like it's been torn apart by violence. This wasn't supposed to happen here. Chevy Chase, Maryland is the kind of place where people feel safe, where neighbors know each other, where crime feels distant and abstract. But inside that beautiful home, Leslie Prier lay dead, and no one yet knew why. Leslie was the kind of person people remembered instantly. Warm, generous, full of charm. She was a devoted mother and a loving wife. Friends said she talked about her daughter Lauren constantly, proud of every detail of her life. She had been married to her husband, Carl Sandy Prier, for nearly 30 years. From the outside, their life looked solid and happy. That's why when Leslie didn't show up for work that Wednesday morning, concern quickly turned into fear. Her coworkers tried calling, no answer. They reached out to her husband and daughter, no explanation. Finally, Leslie's boss drove to the house with Sandy. What they saw the moment they stepped inside told them this wasn't an accident. Blood streaked along the walls, items knocked over, signs of a violent struggle. Sandy rushed upstairs, but came back down almost immediately, saying he hadn't found her. That detail would later haunt investigators. Police arrived and soon made a horrifying discovery. Leslie was found in the shower, the victim of a brutal attack. The water had been turned on scalding hot, an apparent attempt to wash away evidence. She had suffered blunt force trauma and strangulation. This was not random. This was personal. And in cases like this, investigators always start close to home. Very quickly, attention turned to Sandy. He had been in the house. He had searched for her, but claimed not to see her. Detectives questioned every detail of his story. They asked about arguments, about alcohol, about tension in the marriage. Sandy answered everything, sometimes too much. He admitted they had argued. He admitted he had grabbed her once during a fight years earlier. He admitted their relationship wasn't perfect. And then he failed a polygraph test. For years, that failure cast a long shadow. Even though there was no physical evidence tying him to the crime, suspicion followed him everywhere. He was questioned again and again. His daughter Lauren was asked impossible questions about their parents' marriage. For one terrifying moment, even she wondered if it could be true. But when she learned the details of how her mother had died, she couldn't believe her father was capable of that level of violence. Then something changed. Crime scene analysts found something that didn't fit the theory everyone had been leaning on. There was DNA at the scene, male DNA. It was found under Leslie's fingernails. It was mixed with her blood near the stairs, and it did not belong to Sandy. That discovery cracked the case wide open, but it also raised terrifying new questions. If it wasn't the husband, then who was it? Was this a hired killer? A burglar who panicked? Someone Leslie knew and trusted? Investigators tested dozens of men, friends, family, acquaintances, neighbors. One by one, they were ruled out. The DNA didn't match any of them. And then the case went cold. Years passed, then more years. Leslie's murder became one of those files that sat quietly on a shelf, unresolved. Lauren tried to live her life, but the loss never faded. Her father lived under a cloud of suspicion he could never escape. In 2017, Sandy died without ever being cleared. For Lauren, that pain was unbearable. Her father died accused of a crime he didn't commit, and her mother's killer was still free. Then, in 2022, everything changed with one phone call. A detective from Montgomery County reached out to Lauren with something new: genetic genealogy, a technology that didn't exist when her mother was killed. Using DNA databases and family trees, investigators could now trace unknown DNA back through generations. It would take time, they warned, maybe a year, maybe longer. Lauren agreed. She had waited more than 2 decades already. What happened next stunned even seasoned detectives. The unknown DNA pointed to Eastern European ancestry. A family tree began to form. Names started appearing. And then one name stood out, a name that was already in the case file, a name that made investigators stop cold: Eugene Gleigor. He wasn't a stranger, he wasn't some shadowy intruder from the night. He was someone Lauren knew, someone she had dated, someone her mother had cooked for, someone who lived just minutes away. Police waited for him to return from overseas. At the airport, they staged a routine document check. A bottle of water, a discarded cup, that was all they needed. When the DNA came back, it was a match. After nearly 25 years, the man who had fooled everyone was finally exposed. When detectives arrested Gleigor, he acted confused, calm, almost offended. In the interrogation room, he complained about the handcuffs, about heartburn, about being tired. He smiled, he played the victim. He wanted to know what police had. He believed somehow he could still talk his way out. Then detectives told him the truth. They had his DNA. They knew he was there. His reaction shifted. Confusion turned to anger. Fake tears dried up. His story collapsed into contradictions. He didn't deny it outright. He said he didn't remember, again and again.
That was when police knew. He had been counting on time to protect him. He had been counting on technology to fail. And for years, it worked. Originally charged with first-degree murder, Gleigor shocked everyone again by pleading guilty to second-degree murder before trial. For Lauren, it meant no jury, no gruesome evidence replayed, no more years of waiting. It meant hearing him say the words out loud: "I did this." At sentencing, Lauren faced the man who had destroyed her family. She spoke with strength and clarity. She told him he almost got away with it. She told him that despite everything, she was still standing. Her words filled the courtroom with a silence heavier than any sentence. The judge sentenced Gleigor to 30 years, suspending part of that term. He would serve 22 years. For Lauren, it was enough. Justice delayed, but finally delivered. This case wasn't just about a murder, it was about deception, about how easily someone can hide behind a smile, about how time doesn't erase truth, and about how science, persistence, and courage can bring answers even after decades of silence. He smiled like nothing happened. He lived his life thinking police had been fooled forever, but in the end, the truth caught up to him. Do you think justice was truly served here? What moment shocked you the most in this case? Let us know in the comments. And if stories like this matter to you, like, subscribe, and stay with us for more cases where the truth refuses to stay buried. All information in this video is sourced from publicly available court records and reputable news outlets. This video is for educational and documentary purposes only.